I am making a Tomb Keeper Sacred Beast deck profile, or Odion Sacred Beast if you prefer that. I'm just trying the deck just to see if I like it, and I do like how the traps enable Uriah to get a lot more attack points. And the only reason I'm playing the deck is because of the somewhat small bridge with the Sacred Beasts released, that you can use its graveyard effect to add Anubis the Last Judge. Starting off with the monsters for Tomb Keeper, I play 3 copies of the Man with the Mark. The Man with the Mark has the effect that on normal or special summon, you can take a Temple of the Kings or a card that or a spell trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Or my bad, you can either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And then while you control Man with the Mark and Temple of the King, then Man with the Mark, Temple of the Kings, and your face-up Apophis traps cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Or was it battle too? I can't remember. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. That's what it was. Next, I play 1 copy of Merciless Scorpion of Circuit. This card cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand by removing a level 10 or higher monster from your hand or deck, while you also control Temple of the Kings. And then when it's summoned, or not when it's summoned, once per turn during your main phase, you can add Temple of the Kings or a spell that mentions it from your deck to your hand. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can destroy that monster, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the destroyed monster's original attack. Next, I play 3 copies of Anubis the Last Judge. Anubis the Last Judge has the effect of cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by having, by having 3 or more cards in your graveyard with different names that are Temple of the Kings and or trap cards. You place 2 of the 3 at the bottom of your deck, and you can summon this card. Then when it's in your hand, you can discard to add 1 copy of the Man with the Mark from your deck to your hand. And that's it for the Odion monsters. For the Sacred Beast monsters, I play 3 copies of Martyr of the Sacred Beasts. Martyr has the effect on summon to place a Sacred Beast continuous spell, continuous trap, or a Sacred Beast field spell face up from your deck. And then if you control another Sacred Beast monster besides Martyr, then you can activate its effect to summon 2 more Martyrs from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And you can only use each effective Martyr once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Summoner of the Sacred Beasts. Summoner of the Sacred Beast has 3 effects that all summon a Sacred Beast in defense mode, where the first effect is you can reveal it in your hand for a cost to then discard 1 card and then summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand in defense mode. While it's on the field, you can discard a card for cost to then summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand or graveyard. And while it's on the graveyard, you can banish it to then be able to summon a Sacred Beast monster from your graveyard in defense mode. The main thing with it is that the Sacred Beast monsters it summons can be any level except for 8. So it can summon Martyr or it can summon any of the 3 Sacred Beasts. Next, I play 1 copy of Uriah. All of the level 10 Sacred Beasts share the same effect if you can reveal it in your hand, add a Sacred Beast card of a specific type from your deck to your hand, and then discard 1 card. Uriah adds traps, and then Uriah has the effect of it gains 1,000 attack for every trap card in the graveyards. And then its final effect lets you target a spell trap on the field as a quick effect, and then neither player can you target a spell trap on the field, destroy it, and then neither player can activate cards or effects in response. Next, I play 3 copies of Haman. Haman has the effect of grabbing a Sacred Beast spell. When a monster goes to your opponent's graveyard, inflict 1,000 points of damage once per turn. Which is I found out that this is a mandatory effect. And then its final effect is if your Hamon is destroyed, you can activate its effect so you don't take any damage for the rest of the turn. Lastly, for the Sacred Beast monsters, I play 3 copies of Raviel. Raviel grabs up a Sacred Beast monster. And then Raviel has the effect of, as a quick effect, you contribute 2 other Sacred Beast monsters. Destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. And for each monster destroyed, Raviel gains 1,000 attack. Lastly, for the monsters, I play 3 copies of Farah, the Primordial Goddess. This card has 3 effects, where you are able to reveal it in hand, and be able to reveal this card and a spell card in your hand, so that revealed spell card cannot be responded to by either player, or its activation or its effects. And then if Farah is discarded to the graveyard, is sent to the graveyard by card effect, I do believe it has to be from the hand. Let's see. If it's sent from hand or field to the graveyard by a spell or trap effect, then you can special summon this card. And then when summoned from the graveyard, Farah will let you take control of your opponent's strongest monster, your choice if tied. So I just like it because you can reveal it with the Sacred Beast released. Your opponent can't negate the Sacred Beast released, which is also being called Graceful Charity because that's essentially what it is. And then you discard Farah for the Sacred Beast released. Farah summons herself and steals an opponent's monster. For the spells, I play 1 copy of Defense of the Temple. Defense of the Temple lets you fusion summon an Earth fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. Or if you're using a monster that mentions Temple of the Kings, then you can also use face-up monsters your opponent controls as material. And I play 1 copy of the Gaze of Timaeus, because Farah just happens to be a level 8 Dark Spellcaster. But the Gaze of Timaeus just lets you banish a Dark Magician from your field or graveyard, and then summon a fusion monster that mentions it, but that monster is banished during the end phase of the next turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Temple of the Kings. Temple of the Kings has the once per turn effect of letting you activate a trap card during the same turn it's set. Next, I play 2 copies of Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beast. This field spell has the effect of up to thrice per turn during your main phase, you can send 3 cards of the same type, monster, spell, or trap, from your hand or field to the graveyard, to then be able to summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and any monster summoned by this effect is unaffected by your opponent's spell and trap cards. And then Fallen Paradise of the Sacred Beast has the final effect of, once per turn, if you control a Sacred Beast whose original level is 10, then you can draw 2 cards. I do like that these cards that, when they specifically need Uriah, Raviel, or Hamon, then the card says whose original level, so that you don't have to worry about when Cool Tune is adjusting your monster's levels. Since their original level is 10, so it works just fine. But I also just like that's a once per turn pot of greed just by controlling a level 10 Sacred Beast. Or an original level 10 Sacred Beast. Moving on to the 3 ofs for spells, I play 3 copies of Card of the Soul. Card of the Soul has the effect of just letting you add a monster from your deck to your hand whose attack and defense equals your life points. Ordinarily, you'll use this when you have 8,000 life points, so that you can add either Hamon or Raviel as they are the 2 main starters. As the Sacred Beast starters are Card of the Soul, Hamon, Raviel, and Martyr, as they tend to start everything. Although Martyr only really counts as a starter if you also have a level 10 Sacred Beast in hand. Because Martyr will get you to the next spell, which then can get you into 2 more copies of it and the field spell, which is 3 copies of Sacred Beast's Thunderclap. Thunderclap has the effect of, during your main phase, you can place 2 more copies of Thunderclap from your deck, hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spawn trap zone. Then you can reveal a level 10 Sacred Beast monster in your hand to then place the field spell face up from your deck. And This card also has the same graveyard effect as Martyr, which I don't think I actually covered Martyr's graveyard effect, which is during the opponent's main phase or during the opponent's end phase, if you have a level 10 Sacred Beast in your graveyard, then Martyr can activate its effect to return to your hand, whereas Thunderclap is just during your opponent's end phase, you can return it to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Sacred Beasts Released. Sacred Beasts Released has the effect of letting you add 3 Sacred Beast monsters with different names from your deck to your hand, and then you discard 2 cards. That's why it's called Graceful Charity. Because Graceful Charity lets you draw 3 cards and then discard 2. But this card also has the graveyard effect, except for the turn it was sent there. You can banish it to then add a level 10 Thunder, Pyro, or Fiend that cannot be normal summoned or set. And I checked to see how many targets there were. I believe there were 10 targets for this card, 6 of which being Sacred Beast monsters. Because there's the original 3 Sacred Beasts and then the retrains. And Anubis the Last Judge just happens to be a level 10 Fiend that cannot be normal summoned or set. And then you can only use each effect of Sacred Beasts released once per turn. Lastly, for the spells, I play 3 copies of Treasures of the Kings. Treasures of the Kings has the effect that when it's activated, you can set an Apophis trap from your deck. Its name becomes Temple of the Kings while it's on the field, or while it's in the field zone. And then, let's see, once per turn, if you have 2 or more set cards, if you have 2 or more set cards in your spell and trap zone, then you can add 1 monster from your deck to your hand that mentions Temple of the Kings. And you can only use that each effect of Treasures of the Kings once per turn. For the traps, I play 1 copy of Sacred Beast Combined Assault. This card has the effect of letting you summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then if you control 2 or more Sacred Beast monsters whose original levels are 10, then you can negate the effects of 1 card on your opponent's field. Ordinarily, this would be used to negate things like Forbidden Droplet, Forbidden Crown, Dark Ruler No More. But this card is easy to get to, as you just need to get to Uriah, and Uriah can get you to this. And usually Uriah will discard itself, so you have level 10 to revive with it. But then Sacred Beast Combined Assault also has the graveyard effect of letting you fusion summon a Phantasm fusion monster by using monsters from your hand or field. And the one you'll usually be summoning just requires 3 level 10, I believe it was 3 level 10 Sacred Beast monsters. 3 level 10 monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set. That's its requirements. And then next, I play 1 copy of Verdict of Anubis. Honestly, this is my favorite card of the Tombkeeper deck, as it has the effect of when your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control 3 or more other spell or trap cards, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. Then if you control Temple of the Kings, you can destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to half the total original attack of those destroyed monsters. And you can only activate 1 Verdict of Anubis per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Statue of Anguish Pattern. This card has the effect to summon itself as an effect monster, being a level 7 Earth Rock monster with 0 attack and 2500 defense. This card also is still treated as a trap card, and when summoned this way, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. While I don't know why I'm stuttering so much, I apologize. But it has the effect of when it's summoned this way, your opponent cannot target with card effects while you control, or while another trap card that is a monster is in your monster zone. So have an Apophis on field with it, and your opponent can't target it. And then it has the effect of, if the card is special summoned from your spell and trap zone to a monster zone while this card is in the monster zone, then you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. And then I also play 1 copy of Embodiment of Apophis. This is just a monster that becomes a normal monster with 1600 attack, 1800 attack, 16 attack, 18 defense. Still a trap, it's a normal monster. Next, I play 2 copies of Apophis the Serpent. Apophis the Serpent has the effect to summon itself as a normal monster, but when it's activated, also lets you set or you summon itself as a monster, but then it lets you set an Apophis trap in your deck that can activate this turn. And then when Apophis the Serpent is sent to the graveyard, it lets you add 1 copy of Embodiment of Apophis from your deck to your hand. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Apophis the Swamp Deity. What I'd probably end up doing is just, if I were to play more of anything in this deck, it'd probably be 2 more Swamp Deity, just because it's also a negate. As it has the effect during the main phase, you can special this card as a normal monster. It has a level 6 Earth Reptile with 2,000 attack and 2,200 defense. It's still a trap card, and then you can negate the effects of face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of other continuous traps you control. Let's see. Okay, yeah. But the main thing I like about this is that I wanted to play Abyss of the Sacred Beast just for Apophis Swamp Deity, but I had to take out too many cards, and those were one of the cards I would have taken out. But I just like this card because comparing this with the Abyss of the Sacred Beast means it can negate up to 3 cards your opponent controls. But that is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Reproducus. This card's only purpose is to point to a fiend monster you control and make it light. As it can target, when it points to a monster, you can change that monster's type. You can either change its type to anything you want or its attribute to anything. Which the reason I choose Light Fiend is so I can use the 1 copy of Fiendsmith Sequence. Fiendsmith Sequence has the effect of letting you fusion summon a Fiend Fusion monster by shuffling monsters from your graveyard back into the deck. And what do you know? The main boss monster's deck just happens to be a Fiend monster. Next, I play 1 copy of Silhouette Rabbit. Silhouette Rabbit, since it's an illusion monster, cannot be destroyed, when it battles, neither monster can be destroyed. But it has the effect of when it's summoned, you can place a continuous trap that has the effect to summon itself as a monster, face down in your spawn trap zone from your deck. And then, let's see, what was it? Can't remember the last part. And then, for the rest of the turn, after you use this effect, Silhouette Rabbit cannot be used as link material. But it also has the effect of if a card in your spell trap zone is special summoned to your monster zone, except during the damage step, then you can target 1 spell trap your opponent controls and destroy it. Next, I play 1 copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight has the effect of if it's link summoned using a fusion, synchro, XZs, or link monster, then you can target 1 card on the field or in the graveyard, banish it. However, you cannot attack directly for the rest of the turn after you use this effect. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate SP Little Knight's effect, letting you target 2 monsters on the field, with at least 1 being a monster you control, banish both targets until the end of the turn. Or I think it was both targets. It might just be banish those targets. Let's see. Banish both until the end phase. You can only use each effect Little Knight once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Dragon Gate. This is just a card I was testing because I was playing the Odion stuff. This card never comes up, so I'll probably just take it out for something like another Silhouette Rabbit or an IP Masquerena. Next, I play 1 copy of Verudris, Final Bringer of the End Times. Verudris is just an Omni-Negate that lets you detach when your opponent activates a card or effect to then negate, and then you can detach another material to then destroy. But then Verudris has another effect where if it declares an attack while it has material, it can destroy 1 card in the field. And then if this XZ summon card is destroyed, you can destroy 1 card in the field. For the fusion monsters, I play 3 copies of Divine Serpent Apophis. Divine Serpent Apophis must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by attributing 2 Apophis monsters. Let's see what, right? By attributing 2 Apophis monsters, and then once per turn, you can target up to 3 Apophis traps with different names in your graveyard, set them to your field. And you can only use each effect. Let's see. Oh, yep, never mind. Doesn't have that part of the effect. But it does have the effect of... Once per turn, if a trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So I'd actually never actually read this close enough to realize that effect, none of its effects are actually hard once per turns. There are soft ones per turn, so if you have multiple copies of this card in play, you can use the effects multiple times. Next, I play one copy of Divine Scorpion, Beast of Circuit. This card has the effect of when it's special summoned or at the start of the damage step. Then it can... Let's see... You can target face-up monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard. Banish it, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to half the banished monster's original attack. And then it can make a second attack during each battle phase when a level 10 or higher monster is banished. This card's mainly just in here so that to help with dealing more damage. That's essentially how it is. And next, because Hamon and Summoner of the Sacred Beasts are thunder monsters, I play one copy of Thunder Dragon Colossus. As one of its summoning conditions, is distributing a thunder monster you control while you have activated the effect of a thunder monster in your hand. And what do you know, those two thunder monsters just also happen to have hand effects. But I do know the best thing to attribute for Colossus would be your Summoner of the Sacred Beasts. As you activate the effect in hand, discard it. Summon a martyr. Martyr gets the Thunderclap. If you have a level 10 in hand, then Thunderclap will activate to get 2 more copies of itself in the field spell. The field spell will send your 3 Thunderclaps to summon your Summoner. Then Summoner can discard a card, summon a Sacred Beast, then you tribute it for Colossus, and then you can banish your Summoner later to summon another Sacred Beast monster. It's just something I really like about the Sacred Beast deck. And then just because it is known that it's in the deck, I do play one copy of Dark Magician Destruction. This card can be special summoned by banishing a level 8. I think it has to be level 8. Let's see. By banishing level 6 or higher Dark Spellcaster. That's what it was. And then on summon, it lets you add the Gaze of Timaeus. I believe it just lets you add a spell or trap mentioning Dark Magician. But it searches for the Gaze of Timaeus, and then this is the card you banish for the Gaze of Timaeus to summon your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is a monster that cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach material. That's an Xyz monster. You can discard a card to then be able to negate that card, destroy it, and then if you destroy the card with Dragoon's effect, Dragoon gains additional 1,000 attack points. Dragoon's last effect doesn't matter because you never make it with normal monsters in this deck. And then lastly, for the extra deck, I play 2 copies of the Chaotic Phantasmal Sacred Beasts. I'm only playing 2 copies of this card because it is one of my favorite Sacred Beast cards, as well as the fact that its thrice per turn effect is a soft thrice per turn, so if you have 2 of them, you can use the effect 6 times a turn. But it has the effect that thrice per turn, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and then you gain half its attack as life points. And then its other effect is twice per turn. It cannot be destroyed by card. If it would be destroyed by card effects, it's not destroyed. So to destroy it by card effects, you have to destroy it 3 times. Unfortunately, though, that is the only protection effect it has. So running over it in battle, non-target banishing it, or even targeting banishing it. The only kind of removal it's resistance to is destruction removal, but even then, like against some decks like Blitzclick, they'll just go, oh no, so I'll just destroy it 3 times and move on with my day. But that is it for my Sacred Beast Odion deck profile. If you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas for decks I can see made in the future, or decks I can see face each other, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments and try out any suggestions. If you're still here, thanks for watching.